Okay, let's do this. Hello, hi everybody. Welcome back. I hope you all had a lovely holiday break. We took last week off so we could all focus on the craziness that is spending time with your family on the holidays, or maybe it's just pleasant for everyone and whatever. Weird start, weird tangent. But hi, hello, I'm back. How's everyone doing today? I'm personally, I still have that like post holiday blues, like, that slow brain where things are just going like 5 miles per hour in here. Like when I got back to work this week, things are not operating at full capacity. I'm not ready to be back, and I'm just ready for the holidays to take over I'm just ready to not work. That's honestly how I feel. I just want to not have a job for a little bit. Can that be a thing? Can I just like not work and still have my bills paid somehow? Yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. But yes, hello, hi, we're back. And today, my friends, we are going to talk about I was also waiting. I can't you know what? I always make comments about like the banging going around in my house and like, "Oh, can you guys hear that?" But can you guys actually hear it? Can you just tell me? Cuz it would be easier for me instead of me always just tripping out about it. Yeah, we're back today and we are going to talk about Hawkeye, the new show on Disney Plus. So, can I get a show of virtual hands? So, who has seen all 3 episodes going into it? Because, as always, this is going to be a spoiler heavy review. Because I don't know how to make my brain do a review that doesn't have spoilers. Maybe one day, maybe when I'm just like a well-oiled machine and this stuff just comes second nature. But I don't know. I can't talk about something without giving spoilers. It's too hard. It's just too hard. Okay, I am tripping. You guys can't hear what's going on upstairs. It's just me. Yeah, so as you I saw a few people getting a little worried that before I even started this stream that were like, "Oh no, do you hate it? No, I love it. Please don't." But you guys, I'm about to break a few hearts because as of right now, am not into it. Yeah. But don't get scared. Don't get discouraged yet because I don't hate it. I haven't completely written it off. Like I'm not having such a horrible time that I'll never go back. But unfortunately, I feel like it's the kind of thing that like, it's the kind of show that I'm not excited for new episodes for. That's not a good sign. Like I'm watching it because it's there and it's fine, but I'm not exactly hyped for the new one to come out like I am with other shows. So we'll just get right into it. I am glad, though, that I waited to do this review until the 3rd episode came out, because if I had done this last week when it was just the first 2 episodes, this would have been, it would have been a very different review. I think it would have been actually kind of negative. So it was destiny that the holidays happened at that time. You know what? Maybe that was the trick. They released it on the holidays, and so everyone had time to sit with it. And then the next one came out this week, and it changed my mind a little. It got me back on board. It got me to have a different view of it, because the first 2 episodes I was definitely not on board. But now my tune has changed a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because people have like low expectations for Hawkeye, because people are always talking shit about Hawkeye, like he's the boring character, he doesn't do anything, least interesting adventure, blah blah blah. I actually don't buy into that. I personally really like Hawkeye. I think the stuff they did with him in Age of Ultron, it was incredible and it really bought me in. I actually really like him and I really like his character, and I like what he adds to the cast and to the menagerie that is the Avengers. So no, I'm not in the Hawkeye is boring party. So maybe that's why I'm coming at like a different angle for it. But I guess, you know what, I'll start this review with things I liked, because I see a few of you in the chat are a little disappointed that I don't love it. So I'll ease you in. I'll start with the things I like, because there are definitely things that I liked. It's not like a total wash. But then we can kind of go into the criticisms. But this is also like, it feels very much like a show that has not really found its footing yet, that it laid a lot of groundwork, but that groundwork didn't really... But yeah, so let's just start with the things that I liked. I like that Hawkeye is in the spotlight. I do like that it is giving him a chance to really explore his character and how the Avengers interacts with someone who's like actually a for real regular person, and also finally get to see a creative use of his powers, because we haven't ever really got to see all the different variations and cool things that you can do with the archery skill, not powers, skill, like his skill and his talent of archery. Yes, you get some really cool action shots in the Avengers movies, and you get to see him do some like pew pew, but we haven't really got to see him full action, and also with the trick arrows and the different ways that archery is utilized. So that I really, really enjoy. I finally kind of getting to expand on how that power would go. Oh my God, my brain is really holiday blues right now. Jeez. How that really would work in action, because, he was a little super spy for a while. He was also Ronin. So this dude obviously has skills. This dude is obviously using his skill in a way that sets himself above everyone else to become an Avenger. So it's cool to see that, actually. Oh my God, guys. Help me. Why is my brain moving so slow? Okay, I'm going to take a pause because Mama's struggling right now. Oh, geez. Real life. I was literally just like horizontal right before this stream. Just like after work, I need to all right, I'm back. How'd that work? Good to see those action sequences on the silver screen. Silver screen's TV, right? Got it. Yeah, but I do think that was the wrong way to start that sentence, you guys. One of the things I do like about it, first and foremost, and maybe the biggest, most obvious one, is I like Hawkeye. I just like Hawkeye. And I think there is a lot of strength and a lot of interesting, endearing, comedic, great character moments that comes from just staying with Clint. Like, I like Clint as a character. So it's really nice to, oh my God, what am I saying? Okay, no, I'm starting over. I feel like the show is at its best when it's focusing on Clint and Kate together, because I think there is an interesting thing to do there that I hope that they go, but I haven't really seen much of yet. Because just starting back to like why I like Clint in general, I really enjoyed the Age of Ultron stuff. I know that movie had a lot of problems, but I actually really, really loved that movie. And I really loved that scene. I thought it was incredibly unique. And I thought it was a very necessary, very emotional, like genuine moment in that movie, even though it kind of like didn't fit. Like, it is like a 15 to 20 minute scene smack dab in the middle of this crazy fast-paced action movie, and apparently Joss Whedon fought really hard for that scene to be in there, and I am so happy that he did, because I feel like we got a lot of really incredible character moments from all the Avengers, but it was really focused on Clint and brings this larger than life Marvel universe into a normal person, a real person with the real world, with real life consequences, which is very classic Marvel comic shit. That's like what set Marvel apart from, DC Comics back in the day. They told superhero stories about real people and with real life stories in the real world. And so I think that kind of like harkens back to Marvel's roots. And I really, really enjoyed that. But, I think that Jeremy Renner is great in this show. He's obviously a very prolific actor. He's been nominated for an Oscar like 2 times, I think. That might be wrong. He's an Oscar nominated actor. He's been in a million huge, big blockbuster movies outside of the MCU. So he truly has his own acting career outside of the MCU. And that really shines in this show. He's able to hold a lot of the moments that would have been maybe a little bit cheaper in really endearing ways. And a lot of comedy bits that actually land. So I think he's just a very, very sturdy leading man. I'm kind of getting out of whack here. Guys, This is a hard day for me. Sorry, I had a really busy day at work. And now I'm just like, my brain is all over the place. This is going to chalk it up to some streams aren't so good, but I'm going to bring it back. Okay. So one of the reasons why I like Clint and one of the reasons why I like Jeremy Renner is because he has the ability to take those kind of, slice of life moments and make them feel actually genuine and endearing without just kind of being like a cheeky, corny, we had to put this here just to, fill an emotional quota. And I think I really like the juxtaposition between like his family life and his Marvel life, because it's just always like a gentle reminder that like outside of the big battle, like you still have 24 hours of the day and relationships to tend to. And those are a lot of work in itself. I actually really like the relationship between him and his wife. It feels like a real partnership between two people who genuinely love each other, which is something the MCU does not have a lot of. maybe like Star-Lord and Gamora and Tony and Pepper, and I guess maybe Wanda and Vision now after their show. But it's nice to see like a really good romantic partnership that's not just like sensationalized and they're supposed to be together, but it actually feels like a genuine partnership. I think it's really, really stinking adorable, and it's still adorable in this show. I think it's so cute. I love every scene that he has with her. They have a really, really, really great chemistry. I love it. I'm actually, I am like dying to know if his wife knows about Ronan and what she thinks about it. That is one little side tangent that I am genuinely really interested in. I'm going to change my tune about how I'm describing this, because I think by starting with the things that I liked, it's kind of making my brain jumbled, and I'm just going to actually tell it chronologically based on the episodes, because that's going to be easier for me. I'm sorry, you guys. Thank you for bearing with me. This has been a journey and a half. So I think the opening of this show was not very strong, and that was the hard part with it, because the pilot is the pilot, dude. There's got to be a lot of buy-in. It's got to come with a really big bang. But honestly, the things that I've so far liked the most about the show weren't really developed until the third episode, and so a lot of the time in the first episode was spent setting up Kate Bishop as a character and her kind of like, antics and what's going on. And then a lot of these moments between him and his kids that were like almost there and almost emotional, but there's just like little things that were off about it. And unfortunately, so probably I'm going to unfortunately now talk about some things I didn't like in the show first, but I want you guys to hold on with me. The thing that was basically originally turned me off of the show in the very beginning was that it felt like a Disney Channel movie. It felt like some corny sitcom with very thin, very easy, obvious, lazy plot points that were just moving things along. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's a goddamn pizza dog. Like, I just about lost my mind with this pizza dog character. I'm like, this is a Disney Channel movie. This is a Disney Channel movie. There's a goddamn animal character, and like she's gonna chase him into the street or like follow after him just because like he happened to be there biting the leg. It was so weird. And then she's like feeding him, and it's like pizza dog. It just felt like this is a kid's show, which is fine. Like, it feels like it's a kid's show, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Like, I don't need things to be super complex and dark and complicated and like, edgy for them to be good. Like, this doesn't need to always be an adult thing for the experience. But I'm talking more like, think of Pixar, think of the Spider-Man movies, right? Like, those are movies that both kids and adults can equally enjoy, because while the plot points aren't like gritty and like dark and like all complex and complicated, they still have real consequences. They have real emotional weight, and they there's tension. That's it. There's not enough tension in this show. Now my brain is starting to turn on. That is something this show is very, very, in my opinion, missing, is tension within the storyline itself, or something that's like gluing it together. Because now that the lack of tension is making me think of, okay, so the plot isn't strong because there's not enough tension. There's not enough pull between the characters. There's not enough emotional consequences to make any of the plot points hit hard enough. But that doesn't always need to be the case, because in like B action movies, right? Like just like a B level run-of-the-mill dumb action movie, there's usually pretty thin plots, you know, like it's just like bang, 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 like you're just hitting these markers to get to the next action scene. And honestly, that's fine. And it works because you want to be there for the action, but it's like there is a little, you know, unspoken thing. It works when it works, but when it doesn't work, it's fucking dumb. And a lot of that has to do with how the quality of the action sequences that is, what am I trying to say? Bordering these very thin plot points, right? And so if there's a really strong action scene and then like a very thin plot point to the next really strong action scene, you kind of gets like forgiven. You kind of forget about it, because then your like brain is like, this is not the star of this piece, this show. It's the action sequences. But unfortunately, there is an inconsistency in the strength of the action sequences, I think. Yeah. Because like that action sequence in the third episode, and obviously there's a reason why they put it in the goddamn trailer, the teaser trailer, whatever, because it's fucking awesome. This last action sequence in the third episode, where you start with them in that weird warehouse thing, it's like this big, you know, multiple settings with different implements, different being used, different styles, like creativity, swinging from this, swinging from that. And then it goes into that really, really, really awesome car chase scene where it's just like that one continuous shot that just keeps like wrapping around and wrapping around. And then you have like the creative use of the trick arrows and how those all interplay within the fight scene itself. And then there's like that element of like chance within it. Like that was awesome. That was really strong. If that was between that and then like, you know, if that was the second part, and maybe like I don't know, God, what was even the action sequence before that one? Was it the LARP one? I wouldn't even maybe even call that an action sequence, or was it when they fought the dudes in her apartment? I don't know, but like it just, whatever it was, is not memorable. So if there were stronger action sequences, I could forget or I could forgive, not forget, the thinner plot points, but unfortunately there is not. And the plot points, my friends, they are very corny. They're very cheesy. It's very, it's a lot to, I've given a lot of eye rolls and a lot of groans, because it really does feel kind of like a primetime sitcom where I can kind of just see everything 5 steps ahead. But aside from that, yes, the opening wasn't strong, and yes, the first 2 episodes are riddled with that. Maybe I'll get into more examples later, but I don't want to just like harp on it and be negative the entire time. The third episode, there was finally actually payoff for some of the cheesy, corny stuff that they had been doing, and the cheesy, corny, thin plot points. So I kind of, I changed my tune a little bit. I'm like, all right, okay, I need to give this show a chance. I need to stop being such a dick about it, because they're doing something. There is a plan. It's a little silly. It's very silly, but there is a plan. Like, I actually kind of going back to how Hawkeye, the one of the cool things about him from the Age of Ultron stuff is that you got to see like a, super spy, big Avenger, but then also someone who really just like wanted a normal life. He wanted a life that was like personal and sacred, and he wanted to maintain that and keep himself grounded. That was interesting in itself. But then I loved that extra layer from the last episode when they're talking about his branding or whatever. And then he was like, no, I don't want the spotlight because like I'm not a role model. So that's not the point. And I was like, ooh, yes, I love this little extra layer of why he's such a recluse or why he wants things to stay the way they are. And, because we got a little bit of that with Natasha, right? With the wanting to clear her ledger and whatnot. But, and you kind of got it. I mean, like you got it with Natasha with her wanting to clear the ledger and stuff. And then you kind of got it with him because of just like their relationship and their history, Budapest, all that stuff. But it was cool to finally see like that he's going to kind of put that story in the spotlight. And then we can finally see maybe this descent and this mindset that led him to become Ronin, because that is a very drastic decision to make, because like he was not a good guy. At the end of the day, like he's not a role model. He was not a good guy. He is, but he wasn't. And so there's a piece of him, right? There's a little piece of him that's something that's off that needs to be reckoned with. So that I actually really, really love that. Brain freeze. Also, let's talk about Natasha for a little bit, because I liked too, because sorry, I got Natasha on right now. I was talking about the Black Widow clearing her leisure. That was another thing I did like about the show, because I actually thought the mentions of Natasha and kind of like the trauma of that was actually very well done. Like, because it was still in the episodes that were very corny and very cheesy. And then all of a sudden there was like these actually really, really endearing mentions of Natasha, just seeing her in the play and kind of just like zoning out and like disassociating. I was like, oof, yeah, that's definitely what grief will do to you. And then even just like that sweet conversation he had with his wife, where you can just another thing that I really love about his relationship with his wife, it's just not her like finger wagging at him, telling him to like please come home, or that she'll always love him, or blah blah blah, just like nagging him or whatever, how they always like portray the bitch wife in these kind of things. Like she knows everything. Like she really is like right hand man, where she's just like, okay, like what's your play, what's the plan, like we'll figure it out, like don't stress about it, like I got you, I support you. And then he's like, oh, the catch and release, and she's like, ah, one of Nat's old tricks. And I was just like, ooh, arrow to the heart, wink. That was an arrow to the heart. I was like, that was actually really cute. That's sweet. I hope they don't stop doing that, because that is also something I really loved about Hawkeye's character and his role in the Avengers, is like that little bestie friendship between him and Natasha. Also super stinking cute, and also something that was very well done and highlighted in the Joss Whedon movies. Yes, the MCU movies, Justin Smith. I'll get into that later. Sorry, guys. I have not been reading the chat as much while I'm talking, because I'm trying to like make my brain operate at a normal efficiency. But I'm going to read this, go back and read this all in a little bit. But I guess now I'm on like a things that I like train. I do like Kate Bishop as a character. Now we're finally getting to Kate Bishop in this review. How many? Oh God, 30 minutes in. Yikes. I do like Kate Bishop's character, but not until the third episode, if I'm being honest. Like, I was not on board until literally the third episode, just because the way that they presented her was very slapstick. Like, oh, I'm a mess. Like, oh, I keep getting my fingers stuck in the wrong place. And then when they finally had like real scenes between her and Clint, I think that's when the setup of her character in the first 2 episodes actually started to pay off, because like that is her deal. She is reckless. She is naive. She is kind of headstrong in a bad way. And I like it. I like the messiness. I like the recklessness. I like the funness of her, kind of going back to the MCU mommies. We finally have a fun woman in the MCU. Let's go. I'll get into that a little bit later. So, but that didn't shine through until they did the other work in the third episode to kind of round it out a little bit better, because then it just like she just seems like a dumbass, you know, and so, like, because she just kept doing all these like insane things. But then it's fine, like when they're finally starting to round out her character, it's like it's something I can kind of get behind. So I do like Kate Bishop now. I feel like her naivete is finally like a character trait instead of just a punchline. Does that make sense? And any other, who else is a character in the show? Echo. I don't know how I feel about her yet. She, like, I mean, the intro was, I'm not hooked yet. Like, she's just a villain. It's fine. The one thing I do like about her is like the hearing impairment link between them, where it's not just like an aspect of her as a villain. Like, it's not just like one of her skills or powers or just like a feature of her, like her, you know, her distinguishable, identifiable characteristic. It's actually a link between her and Hawkeye with his hearing impairment, which I think is a good idea. And I hope they're obviously going to go more into it. But I think that always makes for a good hero villain situation when there's some kind of link between them where they can actually relate to each other. Because gonna have to pay the piper for killing her dad. Yeah, maybe that's also why I'm not like super bought in with her yet, because like the dead dad revenge is very, like, you know, very cliche, very classic classic villain origin story. Nothing super original there, which is, I think, a problem with a lot of show. It's aggressively cliche. But let me just like reference my notes. I didn't write them well enough to actually be able to make sense of it. My problem with my notes right now is that they're like too detailed. Like, I just kind of like rambled off some thoughts, so I can't just like say it off the cuff. I'm just like, I don't want to like read these paragraphs past Daryn. But yeah. So now I'm going to talk about some things I didn't like. Sorry, guys. I am going to talk about some things I didn't like because I think this show has a lot to make up for. Because with the cheesy, with the corny factor, right? Like, it does cheapen it a little bit when there isn't enough tension or character buy-in to support it. Meaning, like, so with the cheese factor, I'm sorry, I feel like I just saw someone in the chat say, oh, Ferocious Paul, that the LARP scene was great. I don't know if I would classify that as great. I've seen kind of like mixed reactions on that. And here's why it wasn't great to me. Because after, you know, coming from this very, like, B-movie action plot of her, you know, putting on this suit or, like, you know, sneaking around and then finding this pizza dog and then all this like very slapsticky, corny stuff, for them to him go to some like, oh, I guess I'm gonna find this guy at this LARP battle, and then they're like, oh, you can't go in it until you play, and he's like, oh god, I guess there's no other way I can do it except play. Like, it just felt like very Disney movie or Disney Channel movie plot. You know, those like larger than life situations, or those like those very unrealistic situations that people in sitcoms do that would like never happen in real life kind of thing. So that's what that felt like to me. But again, kind of going back to Jerry Renner being able to kind of tie things up with a nice little bow, I was kind of like rolling my eyes when there were like that lady was first like stopping him and being like, you can't get past me unless you sign up for the LARP contest. I was like, ugh, God. But then he started doing the LARP contest and I was like, okay, like this is kind of fun. And then that last scene, what's the guy's name? Was it Grills or Grizz or something like that, when they were just talking at the end of it and he was just like basically like, you know, doing kind of following up on the thing where it's just like, you're a real life superhero, it's awesome, and he's like, you know, whatever, like, you know, pushing him off, and he's just like, dude, I know you're a real life superhero and like you fought Thanos and stuff and this is like silly and stupid, but like it was fun, right? Like you had a good time. Yeah, like don't take it so seriously. Like chill the fuck out, man. It's okay. And I was just like, oh, and then I was just like, wait, okay, I changed my mind. I need to not take it too seriously. I changed my mind. I need to chill the fuck out. So that was like an expertly placed scene. So I actually, so that's why I have a mixed reaction with this show, because I have so many moments like that where I'm like, no, and then I'm like, okay. Okay, so it's like it keeps just like taking me on this roller coaster. But yeah, I also felt the same way about the fencing scene between Kate Bishop and her soon-to-be stepdaddy. That one I also made like a very audible groan to myself when that happened, because that also felt very sitcom, would never happen in real life. Like you're having a tense conversation with your mom and her new boyfriend at the dinner table, and so you're like, want to fence about it? Like what the fuck? Like what the fuck? Like who the fuck? Like no one would ever do that. And then as a way to prove that he's lying, it just like it didn't add. I was like, okay, so you're gonna fence about it, and then not only are you going to fence about it, the other person's going to agree to it. And then you're going to prove he's lying by proving that he's also good at fencing, but you're very good at fencing and you're not a criminal. And then you just have like an emotional, irrational breakdown. And like, he's lying. See, it's like, I was like this, I do not love the scenes with the subplot between what's his fuck and the guy who died and her mom. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving that subplot. That one needs to tighten up real soon. But then, you know, I can also, again, and when it comes to, you know, kind of wrapping up the third episode, then I'm like, okay, now I can kind of see what that scene is what it's trying to say. Like what it's trying to say is that Kate Bishop as a person is very brutish. Like she's very brash, and she is irrational, and she's kind of erratic, and she's very immature. And like these are all character traits that kind of make her who she is, but then also add to the dynamic nature of her. I just wish it wasn't done in that way, but I also get it. Guys, I'm trying. But yeah, and like I think it also, and then like just ending with a very like mustache twirly, like want a butterscotch, dun 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 dun. I was like, what am I watching? Oh yeah, and then there was also that like aggressively cliche part where her mom was like, you just like come on, just like work for me, you'll be happy. And she's like, it's just like you've always wanted, mom, not what I've wanted. And I was like, this show has an epidemic of cliches. Help them. Please help them. What else? Oh yeah, and then like the tracksuit mafia is almost like too cartoonish for me. And maybe it's just because like the comedic writing for the tracksuit mafia, in my opinion, is not very strong. So it's not like it's an inherently bad idea to have like a cartoonish set of like bad guys that are, I don't know, very Three Stooges in their way that they kind of fuck things up, but the jokes aren't funny. So like there's that. So if you want to do that, the jokes have to be funny, and unfortunately they're not. And like, you know, Kate just like talking to the guy about his girlfriend, and I was like, this is not as funny as you think it is. Actually, the one like when Clint was just talking to them by himself when he was first getting interrogated, that was actually some of those jokes were landing. So it's like maybe there's potential, maybe I don't know. But I was just thinking oh yeah, and kind of going back to that whole like not being enough tension and wanting there to be a little more weight to the story. I wanted there to be a little more weight from the Tracksuit Mafia. Like, I know it's a kid's show and I know that they're trying to be very like Disney Channel Christmas right now. So it's like, I don't need them to like, you know, actually torture this bitch, but maybe like, I don't know, punch her in the face, like something. Like they really don't feel like bad guys at all. They're just like stormtroopers, like shooting in like every direction. And it's like, that's fine. Like, you know, we don't want to make it too scary, but you also want it to feel like there are real consequences. So when they're like on the lam from the Tracksuit Mafia and they like gotta take care of this, as of right now, I'm kind of like, why though? It doesn't seem like they're that big of a threat. Like they'll light your house on fire. Like you guys can obviously like all beat the shit out of them. Like it just doesn't feel like they're a real threat or that they're doing anything that's like especially nefarious. Maybe we'll find that out when we find out who Echo's uncle is and all that stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe I wanted the Tracksuit Mafia to just like punch him, you know, just like hurt him and like maybe don't show us. You know, we don't have to see it. Just do it off camera. Kind of, you know, she's got some new bruises on her face. He's got some like cuts or everything where they obviously like roughed him up a little bit. They didn't rough him up at all. They just kept being like, she wants them alive. It's like, we know they're not going to die. It's fine. Like, you don't have to tell us. We know. And I'm trying to think what else. You know what? I'll probably end this negative rant with like a super nitpicky thing that is honestly probably just like a personal problem. But you know what? Okay. It's super nitpicky, but it also is something that I had a physical negative reaction to and then actually made me like Kate Bishop more as a character. So maybe that's why I'm going to mention it. What Justin Smode, oh, there's like a hair in my nose ring. Oh God. Oh, it's still there. Guys, you're in an itchy hair caught in your face piercing. Relatable content. As Justin Smode mentioned earlier with the MCU mommies. So I've mentioned this before, and this is a term that I was coined by Danica19 that I took from her, that Marvel has a problem with their no fun, mean Marvel mommies, meaning like a lot of the women in the MCU are there to, you know, finger wag at the men to tell them to rein it in, settle down, be grounded, you know, to be their like emotional antagonists or their emotional compass, and basically telling them to just like not have any more fun. And it's just like a very annoying trope to me personally as a lady, with this no fun, mean Marvel mommy shit, because it's just a trope that we see in so many things that is unfortunately very true in our society, but I am very sick of being validated in media, which is like that a woman is there to like fix a man or like change him for the better, or like, you know, for every successful man, there's a woman behind blah, 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 to just basically be his emotional compass. And I am very sick. Very, very sick. Very, very sick of seeing that. And so when in like the first episode, was it the first episode or the second episode, when he's like sending his kids home, and then his daughter pulls him aside. She's like, hey, Dad, like, what's going on with you? Like, just want to check in. Are you okay? I was like, why does it have to be his fucking daughter? And then he like literally goes into him being like, all right, you gotta take care of your brothers, who are just like two like fucking like idiot goofs behind her, even though one's like older than her. Like, gotta take care of your brothers because like they're just dumb, so like they need you to keep them in line. So it's like she's there to be like, you know, she needs to take care of her brothers, and then she also needs to like tend to the emotional needs of her father. I just like got very annoyed. I was like, please no. Like, it just made me scared. It made me scared that is what Kate Bishop was going to be, that she was going to like fill this role. And I was like, oh, for the love of God, if this is what the show is going to be, I am so out. But thankfully, I was delightfully surprised, and that is not what happened. It was just a fluke in the story, because this is actually not a reflection of the Hawkeye show at all, because again, like I said, I think the partnership with his wife is honestly adorable, and I think it's great. And I think she isn't just like a no fun, mean Marvel mommy wife where she's just like trying to make him less fun or weigh him down or whatever it is or keep him in line. Like she's just supportive. They're just like buds, and they really like lean on each other for support. Feels equal. But then with Kate Bishop, she's fun. We got a fun woman. Yay for once. And like a fun woman that's like a little shitty, you know, like she's definitely not like anti-hero shitty, but she's reckless and she's naive and she's kind of dumb. She's kind of just all over the place. And so we finally have a character that's not just going to be there to be the emotional grounding support in this group. It feels more like a partnership, and that they're framing it as a partnership. There's obviously like a very like paternal element to their relationship where it's like a father-daughter kind of thing, which I do think is very cute. And I actually do like because, then he can like mentor her and show her the way. But like, I do like that it feels not that she's taking care of him or like trying to change him. Like he's more there to guide her. Obviously they're like, I like the way it's framed because it seems like if they do change, they'll change for the better, like by being around each other, not because they, one's making the other one do it. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my super nitpicky. That's my super nitpicky thought on the MCU mean Marvel mommies. But let me see. I'm going to see if I can make sense of my garbled notes and see if I missed anything. Bleep bloop. Insert Jeopardy music. I'm like laughing at my notes because these are things that I like wrote down when I was like watching the show. And then just I have one note that says he's a super spy. He should know sign language. The fuck? Fair pass, Daryn. That's fair. Obviously, it's probably going to be like a tension point later on that he like can't understand her and needs to like learn to like understand her, or like use his senses better or whatever. Yeah, feels like a missed opportunity there in your super spy training. Being able to sign to your buddies across the way without speaking seems pretty standard. Oh. I said, the corny scenes are too silly, but in a bad way, like the kind of logic that only works in rom-coms and shit. Felt like I was watching the scene in White Chicks where they have to settle things with a dance battle. Pass Daryn, you're hilarious. Yeah. Okay. That's basically it. All right, that's the end of my review. Now that I've completely shut out the chat because I was too focused on having a brain that works, I'm going to go back and read some stuff. Or maybe if you guys really want me to read it, you can just retype some of the comments that you had earlier so I know it, so I can read it again. But first, I'm going to go with the super chats and whatnot. Lord Vito, oh, hello. You were there last time, but now it's official. You're a member. It's good to see you as well. Anant the Car. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, good sir. Nice character moment in episode 3 when Clint had the broken hearing aid and Kate had to help him with the phone call on his youngest son. Yes. It's actually hilarious that I didn't mention that scene. That was such a good scene. Thank you, Anant the Car. You're really helping me out with this one. That's what I'm talking about. Those are like the incredible, I think the show does best when it's focusing on Clint and when it's focusing on Clint and Kate together, because they actually are really good scene partners. And that's when I had a greater appreciation for the whole echo hearing aid thing, or the hearing impairment thing, when I was like, okay, this is going to add for some cool, interesting elements and how she is going to be able to get the upper hand in situations because she's like used that to her advantage, where he's like leaning on something and maybe that'll push him to be a little bit better. I did like the losing of the hearing aid and what that added and how in different parts in the show, just like sound going in and out and feeling so kind of like disconnected and handicapped in being able to do like what you're used to. And yeah, that scene where she was helping him talk to his son was actually very, very strong. Did I see this on, I think it was Hot Ones, maybe, where like he asked him about how Jeremy Renner likes to play characters that are a little repressed and actually don't have a lot of not significant, but like already set traits, because then there's a lot more to explore in like your creative process and like how he wants to do it and how he wants to play it, which makes sense why he would be inside burp attracted to a character like Clint, because he really has free reign in all those scenes to play it however he wants it. And the really kind of trying to hold it together, but like not, he's trying to hold it together for the sake of his son, but he's also not like hiding his vulnerability and like his love and his sadness and just the challenge of the push and pull of two different lives. It was really well done. And Haley Stanfield actually brought a lot to that scene as well, with just like her silent encouragement, silent looks. It was great. Lord Vito with $5 as well. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Oh my God, you guys hear that throat burp? My burps are on fire right now. I'm actually gonna drink some water. I haven't even watched Hawkeye, and to be honest, I'm not that interested. I'll wait for the whole thing to come out and then I'll see it. That's fair, Lord Vito. I kind of feel the same way. If this wasn't like my job, I probably would wait for it to all come out so I could watch it as one set piece, because after watching the first 2 episodes and then the 3rd episode, my attitude is all over the place. It's shifting. But yeah. I support you. I think it probably will make for a better viewing experience, honestly. But still come to my streams. Come on. Matthew McCronald. That was a little hard for me to pronounce for a sec. With the $9.99. Don't know that currency, but we'll see. Unambitious storyline, especially being the first live action series post Loki. Yeah. I 100% agree with you. Coming from Loki, which was a crazy ambitious storyline, and then also WandaVision, which was very, very ambitious as well. Like it wasn't as universally loved as Loki. I really, really loved WandaVision, but it definitely, that was ambitious as well. Falcon and Winter Soldier, not so much. But yeah, coming off of Loki, I think maybe we had some high expectation. It's very, yeah. It's not trying super hard right now. It really does seem like they're trying to fill some Christmas merchandising, which there's a part of me that like gets a little like, I don't like it. Can you put a link for the YouTube members to join? Put the link for the YouTube members to join. I don't know. Well, I just like how to there should be a join button underneath the video. Elgram, will you guys help with that? You guys are like my like OG moderators. I feel like I'm not interpreting that correctly. I'm sorry, Lord Vito. And then we have Kevin with the $5 as well. Kevin0326. Can't forget those numbers. I really want to see Echo fight Daredevil. Deaf versus Blind. Ooh, that's a good dream fight. I'm very into that, actually. I mean, she's going to have her own show. So maybe that's something that they'll bring in, because I feel like they're trying to slowly fold Charlie Cox back into the MCU, which I'm here for. I am not done with him being Daredevil. I love him as Daredevil. That's my favorite Marvel show of all time, by the way, if anyone was wondering. I'll offer it up every time because I'm obsessed with that show. But all right. Okay. I am going to read a few of the last couple chats, and then I'm going to wrap it up for the day. And then we'll kind of go back into next week. I'll probably talk about Hawkeye again. And then we'll see. We'll see. We'll see as the news unfolds. I can't predict the future. Jace lied if I said girls mature faster than boys, take it from a single dad. That's like, I'm not saying that's not true. Like, girls definitely mature faster than men, and there's a reason why, you know, they are like the emotional heads of a household, and for that reason. But what I don't like about, like, I'm not saying that her daughter isn't mature for her age. I just don't like the trope that, like, it's a woman's job to make a man open up, or to make him in touch with his feelings, or to make him, you know, to be the catalyst, to be a thoughtful, aware person. Like, he can't do it without a woman, like, you know, showing him the way. Like, if you weren't here, I would just be this like shell of a man. I can't do it on my own. I need a woman to show me the way. Like, that's bullshit. Like, it is bullshit. So I know, and I'm not insensitive to the pressures of it, is like the pressures of what it's like to also have like masculine expectations in this society, because I think toxic masculinity goes both ways. And I think the expectations that are put on men to not be emotional, to not deal with things, or to really deal with things in a thoughtful way, to just get over it, buck up. Your value comes from what you can bring to the table. How much can you provide? How much can you show for yourself? I think that is also very toxic as well, and totally fucking unfair. But that's what I mean. I'm like, it's a trope. When I said it's a trope, that is unfortunately very true, but I just wish would stop getting validated by media. That makes sense. Like, I just want to stop. Like, it's a truth that we all have to live through every day, because it's going to take a million years for us to get out of this mindset. But it starts with media. Stop making it. But, you know, that wasn't just like a reflection of the show itself, because I do think it made up for it in other ways. Also, I apologize if my mic sounds weird today. I still can't get the settings right, and it's driving me crazy. I change it every week, and I'm still unhappy with it. Echo was super serious, and the tracksuits were clowns. How does that work? Yeah, I don't. That whole plot point with the tracksuits and Echo feels very, very uncooked. So again, was hard to get behind. Not a lot of tension when it came to them being the antagonist of the episodes. But then they're trying to also make the antagonist as other sub storyline. So we'll see. I hate how the mom is so insanely oblivious and dismissive. You know, I am not very into the mom character as well either. She feels very caricature-y right now. But I do have a sneaking suspicion that it might be intentional. Like, she may be acting this way to keep the status quo, to keep things the way they are, to not ruffle any feathers, because she's got some nefarious bad things in her past. So we'll see. All right, I think that is going to be it for now. Go to this last one. Ron C. Oh, $20. You get a wink. You get a round of applause. Little curveball here. I'm not going to watch Hawkeye until I watch the new Spider-Man film. Disney MCU are for kids. I did watch Bruised with Halle Berry. Awesome film, not for the soft-hearted audience. So you're not going to watch Hawkeye until you watch the new Spider-Man film, just because you don't feel like it's made for adults. I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, my takeaway from this show is that it's like made for kids, like made 100% for kids, and not in a good way. Because like Pixar movies are made for kids, but Pixar movies are goddamn mindfuck. Did anyone see Soul? Goddamn, jeez. I'm like, these motherfuckers were doing psychedelics. You know they were. There's no way you made that movie without doing a ton of psychedelics. But there's a way to thread the needle in both camps. So yeah, I feel you on that one. But if Bruise is a new Halle Berry film, I'll have to watch it. All right. Yes. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for joining me on a Thursday as opposed to my usual Wednesday. Sorry, now I'm gonna like talk about me when we wrap up the end of the stream. Last week I was in LA for the holidays to see my fam, which I haven't seen in like legit 2 years. It was wild. I have like little cousins that are 10 years old now, and when you miss 2 years, it's like missing an entire lifetime. It's wild. So it was really, really good to see them. I haven't spent a lot of time in LA over the past 2 years. It's just been like a COVID hotspot. Like, I shit you not, like every single time I've tried to go to LA in the last 2 years, it's like the people that I was going to see or was with like got COVID, and it's just like I just turn right back around. It's like just never ending. And even like afterwards, like I went back like a couple months ago. My friends who were vaccinated got COVID, and I was like, I can't escape COVID in LA. My God, I'm just not gonna come back. But I did finally go, and it was really, really awesome to see my family after not seeing them for a while. But I was down there for a minute. I ended up staying longer than I originally planned to because I went to Disneyland on Monday. My best friend works at Disneyland, and so she was able to use her last tickets for the year to get us in, and I took the day off, went to Disneyland. If anyone cares, the Rise of the Resistance ride is fucking bananas. The best ride I've ever been on in my life. Like, holy shit. My one of my coworkers said that he's like, Rise of the Resistance was worth the admission ticket price alone. And I'd have to agree, even though I didn't pay for the ticket. It was awesome. So yeah, I drove back from LA on Tuesday night because that was my only option to do it while still being able to work. So I got back at like 2 a.m. and then I was wake up for work on Wednesday, and I was like, I can't stream today. It's like I'm just my life is still in flux. So thank you for doing with me a day late. I'll be back on my regular scheduled programming next week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. PT. But yeah, thank you for being wonderful, lovely, supportive little nuggets, and I'll see you next week.